Hello and welcome back. Let's talk about how to make sense of compiler errors in this video. So up until this point, it appears that all the programs that we've written so far compiled successfully without any issues. But that is far from reality. For any non-trivial program or even trivial programs, there are chances that you make some mistakes that violate the syntax rules of the Rust programming language. And because Rust is a compiled language, the compiler works to ensure that all your programming statements are valid as far as the syntax rules of the language is concerned. During the compilation phase, if the compiler spots any error, it is going to not compile at all. But Rust has been created such that the compiler is able to produce some good enough information that is going to help you to spot where the issue is coming from so you can fix before you get your compilation to go successfully. The good news also is that modern text editors have what is known as linters. And a linter is a program that runs in the background to ensure that your code is not violating some syntax rules and some conventions in the programming community of that particular programming language. And so before you even go to the terminal to try to compile your code, your linter is going to be able to highlight in your text editor that there is a problem with your code. For example, I created this add function here, and when I hover over it, you can see that it is saying function is never used right here. Okay, because it is a bad practice to write functions that you are never going to use. If you don't need something, don't write it in the first place. And these are all things that you can let the compiler check and enforce. And so the linter in the text editor is helping me to know that I've created this add function and I'm never using it. Okay, let's get rid of it because this is not the objective of the video, and let's come back to this point where I'm going to uncomment this code. So now let's do cargo run, and you can see that our program is just where we left it off. So hello world, and then your age is 98. Let's intentionally remove a semicolon here. And with the semicolon removed, you can see that the linter in Visual Studio Code has already highlighted line 5. If I hover over it, it is telling me that expected one off. So basically it's telling you that based on how I have written my code, the compiler is going to expect to see either a dot, a semicolon, a question mark, a brace, or some operator found before the keyword let. Okay, so this is telling me that I have missed something, I have neglected something that violates the syntax rules of the language. Let's say I didn't have this text editor and the linter is not helping me. So I go ahead and I try to compile. So let me clear and do cargo run. Now you can see that cargo run also gives me the same explanation. And this is the error message that is coming from the compiler. First of all, it says compiling demo blah blah blah. Then it tells you error expected one of what I've already explained. And it goes ahead to tell you where in your source code the issue is coming from. So it's telling me that it's on line 5. And so you come to line 5 and okay, everything is okay here. So what could be missing? Then you realize that I have missed out the semicolon from line 4. So when I put it back, you save and I come back to do cargo run, and now everything is running as expected. Let's try what we get for another type of error. So you can see that on line 6, I'm using the age variable inside the print statement. This is something I haven't taught you. We talk about it in a future video, but suffice me to use it as an explanation. So I'm going to comment out the line that actually declares the age variable, and it is also syntactically wrong to use a variable that you have not already created and initialized. So if I hover over it, the linter is also helping me. It says cannot find value age in this scope. Now let's say we didn't have this linter, and so we went ahead to try to do cargo run. You can see that it also gives me an error. It says cannot find value age in this scope. So basically you read the compiler errors and they point you to the point in your program, or they give you an idea about what could be wrong in your program so that you can fix them. These are not just the only types of compiler errors out there. There are a gazillion of them out there, and each of them has a unique error code which you can use to look up information. So you can also do RASC. So you tell the compiler to explain what that particular error is. So let's copy this and let's execute it in the terminal to see. So it tells you that when you get that particular error, it means an unresolved name was used. And you can press space to read more, or you can press Q to quit when you are done. So basically, you can see that the compiler is doing a great job for us, making sure that what we have written makes sense syntactically and semantically before it produces the deliverable or the object code which we can execute on our target platform. So get used to reading compiler errors. When you see them, don't panic. Read them and make sense of them. If you don't get what the error is talking about, you can always use the RASC explain command to get an explanation about the unique error code that has been written. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.